And welcome to the Town of Islip Town Hall. I'd like to thank the members of the town board who have been so supportive of our task force. I see that we have representatives from Councilman O'Connor and Councilman Cochran, and of course a member of our task force, Councilwoman Mary Mullen. Also joining us we have our town clerk, Olga Murray, and the receiver of taxes, Alexis White. I want to take this opportunity really to thank MaryAnn Pfeiffer, the CEO of Youth Enrichment Services and chair of the town's Drug Abuse Awareness Task Force, along with Kathy Koenigsdorf, the CEO of JK Foundation. Also joining us today is the president of Good Samaritan Hospital, Ruth Hennessy. Ruth, thank you for joining us. And along with Northwell, Good Samaritan Hospital has been extraordinarily participatory in our task force. We started over a year ago. They've attended meetings, as many other members have, and we really appreciate that participation and that input. You may have noticed that there are purple flags hanging from flag poles throughout the town of Islip. This morning when I was driving here, I saw the Good Sam step signs all along Union Boulevard, indicating that we were kicking off the International Overdose Awareness Month. Today, actually, August 31st, marks the 20th anniversary of International Overdose Awareness Month. And tomorrow, September 1st, marks the town's second annual Islip Goes Purple event, signaling the start of September's Recovery Awareness Month. The coronavirus and the opioid crisis have converged, and overdose fatalities that have fallen in recent years have seemed headed back to all-time highs. According to the CDC, annual overdose deaths jumped 5% in 2019 to over 72,000. Real-time data collected by the Washington, D.C.-based Overdose Detection Mapping Application Program found that overdoses jumped roughly 18% following the state-mandated stay-at-home order in mid-March, with more than 61% of participating counties nationwide, including Nassau and Suffolk, reporting increases. Suffolk County's preliminary data released in May suggests a 40% increase in fatal overdoses over the 80 deaths reported during the same period in 2019. These are staggering numbers and really frightening. Early local reporting indicates that Suffolk County, particularly unfortunately the towns of Islip and Brookhaven, are towns that are considered hot spots. Which brings us to tomorrow, September 1st. September is Recovery Awareness Month, and the color of recovery is purple. Islip Goes Purple is about supporting those who are struggling with addiction, personally as individuals, as a family, or those who have lost a loved one. It's about showing love, compassion, and support. It's also about knowing that recovery is possible. Now I'd like to introduce Kathy Koenigsdorf, the CEO of the JK Foundation. Kathy, please come to the podium.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Kathy Koenigsdorf, the Executive Director of the JK Foundation and a member of the Opioid Task Force. Today is International Overdose Awareness Day. To some it is just August 31st. To some today reminds them of what took the life of their precious loved one. To some it is a reminder of the trauma they faced when they found someone unresponsive and the crippling fear they faced not knowing how they could help. To some this is a reminder that substance use disorder almost cost them their lives. Regardless of the meaning, please take time today to acknowledge the feelings of others, considering 200 people a day are dying due to overdose. I'd like to address the uniqueness this year. COVID has, as Supervisor Carpenter had stated, has very unique challenges that had happened to us. We started a protocol. Our government asked for us to do separation as soon as COVID became evident that it was spread person to person. That is a fatal directive to people in recovery without providing other ways for them to connect immediately. So it should never, in my world, it should never have been social distancing. It should have been physical distancing with social connections. They recover together. The commonality between everything and the stresses from COVID and substance use disorder is anxiety and fear. It's been crippling for everybody, and it is one thing that we can all stand united as to. The fear is astronomical this year. What we can acknowledge, we can change. I will always say my child's name. Jake Koenigsdorf died at 21 years old from a heroin overdose in 2013. But in light of that, I've always tried to find the opportunity that comes from any crisis. Maybe we will have a better understanding for the need for human connection that will inspire great acts of humanity. I'd like to end with a quote from Dave Mearns. What is shared in common is infinitely more significant than what apparently divides. Please join the Town of Islip, our supervisor, everyone on the task force, and everyone in this community that's been affected and those who will be affected in Islip Goes Purple for the month of September. It's the only positive initiative that I have seen in the 7 years that I've been involved in this. And September is a positive month. After we acknowledge the loss and the struggle today, tomorrow starts the positivity. We can all come together because where there is breath, there is hope. Throughout September, follow our website, islipgoespurple.com, and follow, we call it IGP, Islip Goes Purple, on Facebook. The conversation will continue and more information will be shared through the month of September. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kathy, for your words and for your good work. Now I'd like to ask MaryAnn Pfeiffer to come join us.
I wore this mask today. Actually, Liz Mayotte, a community volunteer extraordinaire, gave this to me, and it kind of symbolizes two things: the pandemic and how Islip has really done an amazing job, all of our school districts and our communities and hamlets. So it says Islip Strong, but it's also in purple to remember that we have a lot of people suffering right now through addiction, through social isolation, which Kathy had mentioned. So I thought I'd just show that. It's kind of a neat little gift I just got. Anyway, Supervisor Carpenter came to me a few years ago, and I was like, uh-oh, what now? But it was really something that we had experienced so much loss at YES with losing young people, including staff members. And she had said to me, I have Drew Scott and yourself, and we want to put together kind of like a task force, and you should put that together. And I will help you, and she did. And the town board who approved it and sanctioned it to really go forward and look at that very significant increase in opioid use, heroin overdose. The task force looks at all issues, from legalization of marijuana to other drugs, alcohol, so it's a combined effort. Today is exciting because we are recognizing that our community has lost, so that's a somber event, as I was speaking to Kathy earlier. But I wore the purple to kick off for tomorrow, the hope and the recovery, because there is hope. People do recover, and there are lots of examples, and with organizations like the JK Foundation, who make sure that people who want treatment get it, and other organizations outreach in the town, right here in the town of Islip, for our young adults and our teens, and they have residential treatment, to Good Samaritan Hospital with the Sherpa program, the mental health, Northwell with their mental health and substance abuse clinics, and so many others. There is hope today as we go into tomorrow. And look on our website and our Facebook. There are so many ideas that businesses can do. We have lawn signs. Get involved any way that you can, and thank you to the supervisor and the town board for supporting our efforts.
Thank you, MaryAnn, and thank you for never saying no. Now I'd like to ask Councilwoman Mary Kate Mullen, who, when I reached out to her and asked her if she'd consider being the liaison from the town board to the task force, did not hesitate. She has been absolutely extraordinary in her commitment to the task force, her participation in the task force. Mary Kate?
Thank you, Supervisor. Good afternoon, everyone. For the past 2 years, it's been my privilege to serve as the town board member on the opioid task force. And I remember last year, Kathy came up with the idea of Islip Goes Purple. And we started last year, and the idea was to build on it. And this year, it's even better than last year, and I hope next year it's even better than this year. Last night I was in Bayport with the Great South Bay Coalition and the Chamber as we lit a tree purple in Chamber Park. And we had such a great turnout, and it was such a great event. And just the fact that so many people have been coming up to me in the past week asking me, what does Islip Go Purple mean? And for me to be able to explain, it's about bringing awareness to substance abuse. And it's our way of showing everyone, don't be ashamed, it's okay, we can talk about it, and bringing acceptance to the forefront. And I want to thank Supervisor Carpenter for the idea of forming the task force. Islip, we're leading the other towns, and I hope next year the other towns join us in going purple, and before long, all of Long Island will be purple for the month of September to bring awareness to substance abuse. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. So the town will premiere, you heard some reference to it, its first in a series of videos during September Recovery Awareness Month tonight at 6 p.m. on your YouTube channel. So we'd ask that you please visit our website and our government access channels, Verizon 1982 and Altice Channel 18, throughout September for valuable programming during the entire month, Recovery Awareness Month. And I just ask everyone to remember, we are one Islip, we are one family, and there is strength in numbers. And very important to remember that healing and recovery are possible. So we need to be there for one another. And like everything else, like we're coming through this awful pandemic, we will get through this. Thank you so very much for coming out and helping get the word out, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone, and they're purple. Thank you so much.